just in now, some evil news coming out of California today. And I'm sad to report this, but Democrats in California have just blocked a bill that was proposed that would make it a felony charge for buying and trafficking children. So this law was proposed, and although it is a felony charge to sex traffic children under the age of 16, the Democrats just blocked this new bill that would make it a felony charge as well for 16 and 17-year-olds. And in this article that I'm showing, basically they're saying that if you're 16 or 17, it's going to be a misdemeanor or could potentially be a felony, but that's up to the prosecutors. And they said that you need to have hard proof of the fact that you were being sex trafficked. You know what that means? I mean, clearly they're corrupt in blocking this, but if you're going to require hard proof, that is opening the doors for even more corruption.
Greetings and welcome back to Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Today we're confronting an alarming truth. Our elected leaders, specifically those on the political left, are endorsing initiatives that undermine the safety and dignity of our children. This is not sensationalism. This is not partisan theater. It's a direct challenge to the moral fabric of our society. We're seeing a steady drift away from principles that once united us, protecting the innocent, standing for justice, honoring the boundaries between right and wrong. Here now, instead, we are being asked to accept policies that rationalize or even defend behaviors that most Americans find reprehensible. One of the most disturbing trends, open support, or at minimum, leniency towards individuals convicted of crimes against our children. What happened to the notion of public service? When did the protection of children become a political liability instead of a universal mandate?
I'm pretty disgusted with California right now. Democrats blocked a bill that would charge perpetrators with sex trafficking 16 and 17-year-olds as a felony. And they blocked it and said that it's to protect the LGBTQ community.
Californians, these politicians are just fucking stupid. Stupid and fucking, I don't know, man, fucking weirdos, bro. California Democrats blocked bill to make sex trafficking minors a felony again. Really? At this point in time, man, you just know that these politicians in California just fucking, they're part of the problem. They probably have a whole dungeon in their attic somewhere.
3 years ago, we took on this challenge to protect everyone from being sold and bought into sex slavery. Hostile amendments dropped the rate to 17-year-olds and below, minors, when we had SB 14. Then we came back with SB 1414 to go after the purchasers that engage in solicitation or solicit minors for sex. And then they forced amendments on us again for 16 and 17-year-olds to exclude them from the felony provisions for 15 and below. Then Assemblywoman Carell comes to fix that issue because we vowed never to quit fighting for our 16 and 17-year-olds that should be protected under the same provisions as any minor in the state. I can tell you that what they did to Assemblywoman Carell, who's an expert in this field, she took down Backpage, she's a prosecutor, and what they did to our bill 2 years in a row is completely unacceptable. There's an old adage that says, when they show you who they are, believe them. It is really difficult for me to fathom. I've been here since 2010, longer than any of my colleagues standing behind me. But there are Democrats, not all of them, but a certain number of Democrats are actively engaging in keeping minors in a sex slave industry while protecting perpetrators. How is that even possible? They're actively engaging to say 16 and 17-year-old minors should be treated like adults. They don't let you use a tanning bed. They make you get permission when you leave campus that you can be treated like an adult when it comes to selling or somebody buying you for sex.
Now, let's be clear. The erosion of boundaries did not start overnight. Many people, including myself, observed a cultural shift over the last decade, particularly during the Obama administration, when issues of sexuality and identity became central to public discourse. While advocating for marginalized communities is important, elevating any group to an unquestionable status can obscure deeper motives. Now, the gay community, like all Americans, deserve dignity and they deserve freedom. That's not in dispute. What is concerning is the disproportionate focus placed on sexual identity in schools, in media, and legislation, especially when children become the focal point of these narratives. Consider this. Sexual content is now present in public schools' curricula as early as kindergarten. Books and school libraries depict graphic adult scenarios. Events targeted towards children feature overtly sexual performances under the guise of inclusivity. These are not isolated incidents. They reflect a broader agenda. Why is there such a insistence on exposing minors to adult themes? Why is parental consent increasingly being bypassed? The answer, well, at least I believe, lies in the strategic use of sex. The strategic use of sex as a tool for psychological influence. When you shape a child's understanding of self and morality at a vulnerable age, you influence how they think, how they act, and how they comply later in life. This is not merely about perversion. It's about control. Emotional distraction becomes a form of social engineering, and the consequences are long-term.
We've got breaking news, and this is appalling. This week, I was shocked to see that the Democrats decided to kill a bill using a parliamentary procedure in a committee room. This bill from Democrat State Assembly member Maggie Krell. It is a very common sense bill, AB 379. It would have made it a felony crime to purchase a 16 or 17-year-old minor for human trafficking. Democrats chose to use a parliamentary trick to protect criminal predators over victims of human trafficking, 16 and 17-year-old kids. So what we decided to do, the Republicans got together and I said, we've got to make it clear who's doing this, because they used a parliamentary procedure in a committee room to do it without a full vote of the state assembly. And that way their vulnerable Democrat members who may have a problem in their election, they don't have to pay a price. They don't have to stand before voters and say, oh yeah, I voted against making it a felony crime to traffic young 16 and 17-year-old minors. So we decided to use a number of procedural motions on the assembly floor to force a vote on this issue. And today, we were able to get a floor vote forced on this issue, and we have the list of names of Democrats who chose not to make it a felony crime, who chose to protect predators over victims of human trafficking who are young minors, 16 and 17 years of age. This is a sickness.
So now let's turn to specific policies now emerging in various state legislatures. Some recent proposals will reduce the legal consequences for sexual activity with minor, in some cases involving children as young as 14 years old. 14 years old. This is not a typo and not an error. It's a legal redefinition with life-altering implications. And what is the justification? Advocates claim it's about equity. It's about fairness. That outdated laws criminalize behavior unfairly. But critics, such as myself, rightfully argue this opens the door for exploitation. When adults are legally permitted to engage with minors in intimate contexts, we have effectively abandoned our moral duty. And who benefits from this? And why is it being done quietly? Why is it being done quietly and buried in legislative amendments and legal jargon? These are the questions every citizen should be asking. I mean, we've seen powerful figures exposed before, like Jeffrey Epstein's case showed how deep and high the corruption can go. We saw names redacted, cases sealed, children left unprotected. This is not just about outrage. It's about accountability. When a government begins to shield predators more than victims, the people got to get active.
I cannot believe you just said that this bill does not pay lip service to survivors, because that is the absolute definition of what this offensive bill does. You sit there and you water down the penalties. You're paying lip service to the 16 and 17-year-old victims of sex crimes. I mean, what more does it take for this caucus, the Democrat caucus, to wake up and realize you're on the wrong side of this issue? It is so patently offensive. And why? Because you have an extremist wing of your party that says somehow it is normal to have sex with minors. Let me review the bidding. SB 145 in 2020, signed by Governor Newsom, notwithstanding the theatrics that he has engaged in this week on this bill. SB 145 would allow a predator to molest a child as young as 14 years of age and avoid mandatory sex offender registry. That's what this legislature passed. That's what this governor put into law, because it is reflective of a perverse, deviant, perverted philosophy that somehow it is normal for men to molest young boys and young girls. SB 357, which this bill is trying to fix, legalized loitering for the purpose of sex trafficking, sex work, and prostitution. Why? Because somehow it was spun as anti-LGBT to try to enforce laws against sex trafficking. I will tell you, as a gay Republican, it is offensive, and a supermajority of the gay community, they disavow the LGBT caucus, claiming that somehow this bill is anti-gay. It's offensive to use the gay community as window dressing for sex trafficking. That's what's going on here. Make no mistake about it. These are young minors. They are victims of sex trafficking, and this bill would allow predatory behavior to continue without punishment.
Polling and public response make one thing clear. These policies we're discussing are not popular. Parents, educators, and community leaders across the spectrum are finally speaking out. They are organizing. They are attending school board meetings. They are demanding transparency. Yet, somehow their voices are being ignored, vilified, or even censored. It's funny you don't hear anything about this on shows like The View. This raises a chilling possibility that elected officials, the ones that we have now, especially on the left, are no longer representing the will of the people, but instead responding to unseen pressures, ideological, financial, or even coercive. These decisions are not made in isolation. Political leaders, they receive donations. They are lobbied. They attend private meetings with organizations that have goals far removed from the public good. And so we return to the essential question: who is influencing these decisions? Who benefits from the weakening of protections for our children? It's time we investigate. It's time everyone get real focused in and start demanding answers. Now is the time to speak up and speak clearly. We are not powerless. We are not voiceless, but we are inactive. It's time to get active, time to engage with your community. Call these representatives. Vote. Vote with awareness. Because if we don't defend our children, no one else will. And they surely will not. I am Wolf Kage, and this has been Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend, please. Stay vigilant, stay principled, and stay united. Peace.